Color guard, front and center, march. Will everyone please stand and salute the flag? Present colors. Will everyone stand with me and pledge allegiance to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Color guard, post colors.
Colors posted, sir.
Color guard, right face. Hand salute. 2. Dismissed. Let everyone be seated.
In the lives of the Inmans and the Allens. My name is Dave Campbell. I am the Explorer Leader in the Swap Ward. And having been in that position for a fairly short period of time, I still had an opportunity to see the hard work that has gone into the 2 awards tonight to make it truly a memorable occasion. We'll begin the program by hearing from 2 speakers. First of all, we'll be pleased to hear from Bill Fisk, who is a member of the North Star District Advancement Committee, and I happen also to know was a particularly grueling member of the Board of Review that concluded that Danny and Paul are both worthy of becoming Eagle Scouts. Following Bill's remarks, we'll be pleased to hear from Robert Bryce, who is Paul's grandfather and also a first counselor in the Phoenix East State.
Thank you. Well, a few weeks ago, Dale Inman asked me to speak at this corner art. He suggested the topic of advancement. Well, it's crazy to volunteer for a thing like this. Of course, I did. And of course, I'm here, as are many of you, or all of you, certainly, because we believe in Scouts and in Scouting. Scouting is a lot of fun, and you learn a lot of things. Speaking of learning things in Scouting, I should tell you of a Scout trip we were on once. We came upon this fisherman and his dog, and it was a big friendly collie, and we got to talking with this fisherman. It seems this guy mentioned this dog could talk. Well, we didn't buy that. Dogs don't talk. Well, so one of our scout leaders said, bet you a buck he can't. Well, so this fisherman asked his dog, he said, what's another way to say 50%? And the old dog answers, ha! Well, the fisherman took that dog. So the scout leader says, well, I bet he can't do it again with a different question. Took out another $1 bet. This fisherman says to his dog, what's the opposite of on? The dog says, ha! Well, our scout leader, being a bright fellow, he was getting scared. So he quickly throws down $20, and he says, this time I'll ask the question. So the scout leader turned to the dog and he said, who's the greatest basketball player that ever played pro ball? The dog sits up and he answers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, we're talking about learning, so slow we learn. In scouting, the advancement requirements are, was quite diverse. In Boy Scouts, start pretty much talking about Boy Scouts around age 11. Of course, the emphasis is on fun and activities and field trips, and camping and hiking. There's lots of learning going on. Scouts build things, learn about sportsmanship, learn about being part of a group, and they learn about adults who give of themselves. Now, advancing this through several ranks, you'll see them around you tonight. Scout, technical, second class, first class, starlight, eagle. By the time a scout reaches first class, he's had to earn 8 skill awards, which one merit badge, first aid. And these subjects include citizenship, hiking, camping, cooking. And I went on some of those trips in Paul's case, when he was in the ward. Saw him earning some of those kinds of things. I remember watching at least Paul learn to camp and learn to cook. I particularly remember Paul's cooking. Chili and beans made from scratch. All scouts make chili and beans. Popular dish. And I think scouts will always cook chili. And I'm here to tell you that you eat pretty good chili. We've learned a lot about making good chili on scout trips. As I recall, you've got to burn it right into the pan and make it taste right. And scouts always get the flavor very right. Well, anyway, after first class, Paul and Dan, of course, moved on to earning the star rank, which is 5 more merit badges. 3 were required for this. A very limited selection in that list. And there are some service hours and some leadership jobs they have to do along the star rank. They have 5 more merit badges to earn for life rank, some more leadership jobs, and some more service hours to put in. And by the time a scout gets to life rank, we're getting into some rather serious scouts. These guys are the guys who really have gotten in the work. Now, Eagle takes 10 more merit badges for a grand total of 21. And of the 21, 11 come in this required list. So by the time a scout reaches live, all the easier ones are done. He's got most hard ones to pick from, the ones he can avoid. And of course, in addition to that, he has to be in the rank for 6 months, in the rank of life for 6 months. It's 6 months of leadership, a leadership job in his troop or team, explorer post he has to put in. And of course, the Eagle Service Project. Now, I don't have to talk much about these Eagle Service projects that these boys did because most of you were there. Takes a lot of support for an Eagle project, and I think everybody here has probably worked on at least one. And I happened to be there when Paul did his. He had thousands of people there. Paul's project was a lap quilt for some people in retirement, rest home situation. And Danny was a clothing drive for needy families. Back to school clothing drive. And of course I would suppose that Dale and Carol, James, and Sherilyn probably gently nudged these boys along a little bit. So we have to give them a little credit for that Eagle project. And for all of this work, Mom will get a little pin. And if she's really lucky, she'll get a hug from her teenager tonight. That's kind of iffy. Teenagers don't do that too much. There's one more gauntlet Paul and Danny had to run, mentioned here, and that's the Eagle Board of Review. The Eagle Board is made up of adult leaders, at least one representative from, in our case, North Star District. And it's very much like a job interview, because being an Eagle is very much like a job. The adequacy of the work to date is examined. The character of the young man is examined. And board members are very conscious. Will this person represent scouting well? Will he always represent scouting well? Will he pass it on? There's a story of a young apprentice builder who was sent by his boss to the lumber yard to purchase some wood. It's the first time he'd been asked to do this. So he strode up and he asked the clerk for some 4x4s. Well, this clerk asked him, "Are you sure? Don't you mean 2x4s? Most people, build things out of 2x4s." Of course, the young apprentice said yes. He was sure his boss meant 4x4s. Clerk then asked, "Well, how long do you want them?" Well, he wasn't too sure of the answer to that, so he went back and checked with his boss. And he came back. He said to the clerk, "We're building a house. We want them forever." Well, the Eagle rank is like that. Well, tonight we present an advancement badge, and Paul and Dan wash this uniform, this badge on it, till it's all frayed and worn away. They'll really always wear it as a part of what they are. They're going to wear it forever. It's that kind of badge. It proves that they can attain a difficult and important goal. Only roughly 2% or less of all scouts become Eagles. In Northside District in 87, I understand that there's about 850 registered boys. 6 of them became Eagles. Dan, Walt, you're in a unique group and a very elite group of young men. But Thomas Huxley said, "The rung of a ladder was never meant to rest upon, only to hold a man's foot long enough to raise the other foot higher." Well, I believe these young men have a pretty good grip on that ladder, and we congratulate them. We thank them for the example they've set for the other scouts. We know very well the good that comes from this important rung on their ladder. And while they may not yet fully realize it, they're already passing it on. Thank you.
It's a real honor to be invited to participate in this Eagle Court. I think the reason Paul gave me the invitation is because he knows that I don't talk very long. But it's nice to see him join the 6 other Eagles that we have in our immediate family. Being an Eagle Scout is a significant accomplishment. And I'm not sure who has accomplished the most, the scout or the parents. We know that it's a joint effort in the family to see this great thing occur. A year ago last month, I was with 7 Eagle Scouts. It was a special Eagle flight for our state, and we were taking these boys up into a week-long backpack trip in southwestern Colorado. One of the fellows who lives in our ward had a nice cabin just north of Bayfield, up in the canyon there, and he allowed us to camp in his meadow. As we were getting ready, we went through Sunday services, and then we went on up the next day. They went on up the next day to do their backpacking. As we met with the Boy Scouts in the Bayfield ward, all of these boys were in their Eagle uniform, and they looked really sharp. They had the ability to conduct the singing. They played the piano. They responded with spontaneous talks. They stood out as they participated in the Sunday meetings of that day with those boys. The Cub Scout leader and Scout leaders from that ward asked these boys to come to their Sunday school class and the priesthood classes to talk to these boys who were just coming in to the Scouting movement because they wanted them to see what Eagle Scouts looked like and how they behaved. couple of weeks after we were there, this fellow who owned the cabin noticed a fire down in the meadow. And so he went down there to see what it was, and it was a campfire, and it was the boys from the Bayfield, Colorado Ward that were down there camping in the meadow. And they said, "Oh, Brother Evans, we're sorry we didn't talk to you and ask you if this was all right." But they said, what we really wanted to do is we wanted to sleep where the eagles slept. And so they had found where these boys had camped, and they wanted to be there to see if some of that could rub off on them. And I think that's the whole program, is to see that some of it does rub off on those who are yet to come. The sponsoring institution for this program that brought these eagles here tonight is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Within the church, the Eagle program is to implement not only the Trail to Eagle with all of its significance and importance, but it is also to see if it can make it easier for these young men on their trail to becoming an elder, to receiving the Melchizedek priesthood. It is a great help to a young man as he achieves this rank and then becomes an elder in the church, for him to better understand what his opportunities and privileges and obligations are. Now, you don't have to be an Eagle Scout to be an elder. There were lots of outstanding elders in our church who never were Eagle Scouts. Joseph and Brigham and Wilford and Lorenzo and another Joseph and a David and a George and a Spencer and an Ezra. I don't know how many of these outstanding men were Eagle Scouts. I know that many of them were recognized by the National Boy Scouts of America with significant awards for their contributions to scouting. You don't have to be an Eagle to be an elder, but it certainly helps. And it helps in this way, and I'd like to name just 4 or 5 things that I think that you learn as you become an Eagle that makes it easier for you to become a good elder. First of all, to become an Eagle requires a specific goal to be set. And it has to be set quite early. And it has to be specific enough that it can be measured and you know when you've reached it. And they have names like ranks, like tenderfoot and second class and first class and star and life. Significant milestones that you go along to where you can measure your progress. Now, your progress to become an Eagle Scout probably started when you were a Cub Scout. So it might have been some 6 or 7 years ago. Could have been even earlier than that if your parents had anything to do with it and made the preparation earlier. But the tracking of your progress to become an Eagle is something that has only lasted probably in maybe 5 or 6 years. Whereas your progress to become an elder has lasted much longer than that. And it didn't start in the early 70s when a Boy Scout was born. This started before he ever got to the earth. It is our understanding that a man who receives the Melchizedek priesthood, it was intended for him to have that great blessing before he was ever born. This is part of our doctrine and our understanding about the pre-existence and the pre-mortal life. Something was done there to earn this great privilege for a man to receive the Melchizedek priesthood. So the tracking system started earlier, and it probably is a little bit more significant, but it still has to have milestones of progression and definite goals to be established in order to become an elder, just as you do become an Eagle. I have heard it said that one of the supreme arts in our life is knowing what to take hold of and what to let go of. There are too many things for us to become interested in, for us to achieve them all. And so we have to be very careful in our selection process. Now, it's true in the Merit Badge program, there are some that are required, that are specified. But there are others that are optional. And as a boy goes through the process of saying, I'm going to work on this Merit Badge or that one, he is taking the things that normally apply to him and his interest and talent. So he is building upon himself as he selects these Merit Badges and achieves them. So he is tailoring and building his life. You do the same thing as you work toward becoming an elder. You have to let go of a few things. There are some things that are just not worthy of our attention. Just like there are some merit badges that may not be practical. So to become an elder, you have a very selective process to go through. They parallel one another in that selection there. There is the responsibility for an Eagle project to involve other boys. That is a leadership principle that is required and used by those who serve in the church. To become an effective elder, you have to learn to participate in quorum projects and quorum activities, just as you did in the Eagle project and the scouting activities. You involve other boys, you help them know what their schedule is, where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, and you write a report. Very significant responsibilities for an Eagle Scout are also for an elder in the church. We learn in scouting, and it's the responsibility of these Eagles tonight, to turn about now and help other boys achieve the same thing. It is built into the programs. The same thing exists as you become an elder. It's built in the program to share that happiness, that satisfaction, that success with all that you can. We learn in scouting, we must be prepared. An elder must also be prepared. He never knows when the opportunity will come to him to pronounce a significant blessing or someone who might be in an emergency condition. It might be when he's got his dirty clothes on. It might be when he's just coming home from work. It might be when he's tired in the middle of the night. He needs to be prepared to be an effective elder, just as he's been taught in the scouting program to be prepared. And the other thing that he learns is that it has to be done on a daily basis. Do what daily, do a good turn daily. That principle belongs to any effective elder. So there's a great parallel in that, and it's easy to see why the church has selected this program not only to build eagles with all of the magnificence and the honor that comes with that achievement, but also to build a good working elder. Same principles, same application. It will be both for them. I pray that these Eagle Scouts will be good elders, that they will recognize the joy that comes from that, just as they are tonight as they receive this Eagle rank. And for this blessing I pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
As we were preparing this evening for the Court of Honor, somebody came to the stand and asked what one of these two Eagle project had been. And another person made the comment, just ask his mother, she'll understand it better than anybody else. It's only appropriate tonight that we hear a word from these two good mothers. We'll first hear from Shirley Allen, then we'll hear from Carol Inman. They will be followed by a special musical quartet consisting of Bishop Jay Moyes, Cordell Esplin, Bob Llewellyn, and Bruce Gardner.
Needless to say, I'm very proud of both these boys, having the opportunity to be for advancement in our area for our work here. It's fun to watch. That's one of, I think, the best callings in the church is to watch these boys grow through scouting. But since Paul's mother gets to brag a little bit on him, I'll keep my remarks to Danny. We have a tradition in our family, which my mother and Danny's grandmother started, and asked Danny to see his eagle ring when he leaves, when the program's over, because I'd like you to see that. His grandmother's very proud that she's got 4 eagles under her belt now, and she gives him a very special ring. And so, as part of our eagle tradition, I'd like you to ask to see that. Danny, you and Dan and I can honestly say that you're not perfect, but you are making decisions and taking steps that will be of great value to you now and towards a successful future. Since you became mobile, we've seen you take physical challenges on and suffering many injuries and painfully working to build yourself back up again. Your drive and determination are commendable. You've taken leadership challenges and found that they are a lot more work than you thought they would be. But you worked hard to see your responsibilities carried through to a successful completion. This was demonstrated most when you were working on your Eagle project of having several women's organizations in our church make outfits or purchase outfits for kindergarten through 6th grade children for the back-to-school clothing drive. The people liked your project and your accomplishments so well that they asked you to be in charge of their special children. And the tenderness you exhibited towards that sweet little girl with Down syndrome who wanted you to help her pick out her very first brand new school outfit. She took to you so well that as shy as she was, she wanted to show you her scar that from a recent open heart surgery. That tender moment made your Eagle project take on a more meaningful and added dimension. All through school, you've taken an active role in student government, from being president of Mercury Mine Elementary to senior class president. You've also set high goals for yourself for spiritual challenges of serving a mission for your Father in heaven and of being married in the temple. You honor and you bring honor to your parents, and for this we are very grateful.
Just take it easy on me. 16 years ago, on July 8, 1972, Paul arrived into the world screaming very loudly. His father was down the hall and could hear every sound he made. He was given the name of Paul after the Apostle Paul. His middle name was Marcus. Those two words together mean little defender. From the time he was born, he was defending the warrior. He started off defending his health for the first few months. He was in and out of hospitals, fighting for breath, because he had so many allergies and asthma. And now you can find him ready to fight to defend his family, his friends, and his church. He exhibits the characteristics of bravery and cheerfulness. Paul has always been the clown in the family. When everybody's depressed, Paul's the one that cracks the joke, makes everything seem all right again. When he was 5, he pulled his first practical joke. He had had a surgery on his neck for a biopsy. And when he came home, he had about 5 or 6 stitches right on his neck, and they were big black stitches. And one day, his older brother Murray, who was about 6 and a half at the time, came in crying, Mom, Paul pulled out his stitches. And so I started down the hall. Here goes Paul. Like this. I said, Paul, what'd you do? He pulled up his big black string. And then he started giggling. He was a big giggler. He found a string on the floor, and he thought this would just be a great trick for my mom and his big brother. Later on, he tried one of his littlest brothers. They were out chopping down a tree that had died, and Paul nicked his finger with a soft little bit of blood. But he came to the house. The Gordon was outside looking around the ground. Paul washed off his finger and then stood and watched him. I said, what's the matter? He says, nothing. Bruce and Gordon comes in crying. Mom, I can't find it. What can't you find? Paul's finger. Paul had gone like this. He held up his finger, get it down so he couldn't see it. He said, find my finger, I've got to go to the hospital. Later on, he tried to get on his sister. He was getting allergy shots about that time. And the nurse kept telling him, Paul, your everything's so hard, I can't needle anymore, I need new arm. So Paul came home and said, the nurse says, I need new arm. Now this was a great show and tell project. Jessica from kindergarten, first grade, she went to school and told everybody, my brother's getting a new arm. I don't know if it's bionic, I don't know if it's metal, I don't know what it is, but he's got to have a new arm. I had about 6 calls from administrators, teachers, parents. Okay. Most of the time I just sat and laughed on the phone, I didn't talk to him. Paul also shows compassion. He's there for his friends, for his family, for anybody that needs him.
shots for school. Paul was there showing up, put ice on his arms so it would swell up, and how to make it feel better. He knew exactly what he was going through. When his father was tired, Paul's there to do something kind for him. He's been there for friends who have tried to commit suicide. But it goes beyond just people. He got a rabbit for Christmas last year with no pigs. He started raising rabbits. Well, he got his first litter of rabbits this last spring, and only one lived. And that one little rabbit had teeth that were very long, and they would grow up into her nose, and she couldn't eat, and she was dying. So Paul decided he needed to do something about it. So he talked to a veterinarian who was a member of the 11 ward, and agreed to do babysitting in exchange for veterinary services. He took his little rabbit into the office. He put the rabbit to sleep, pulled out her teeth. Paul was sitting there. This is hurting me much more than it hurts you. So his compassion goes to his rabbits too. He also has a talent for art. We have a display table in the other room, and on it is his first oil painting that he did when he was 12 years old. He's been very generous with his art talent. He helps his brothers and sisters make things for school. He helps Mom by drawing pictures that she can't. And she might have to give up lessons or something. He makes them posters. We're proud of Paul and Mother, and we're sure glad that tonight is here.
Oh, she didn't tell about Mrs. Butterworth. My mom couldn't find him one time, and because she went grocery shopping. Looked all around, found in the syrup section, was talking to Miss Butterworth.
On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God. On my honor, I'll do my best to serve my country as I may. On my honor, I'll do my best to do a good turn each day, to keep my body strengthened and keep my mind awakened, to follow paths of righteousness. On my honor, I'll do
present the Eagle poem, following which Bishop Jay Moyes will present the Eagle Award, the Eagle Oath, and the Eagle Plaque.
A fond mother watches her boy where he stands, apart from his comrades tonight, as they place on his camp-battered tunic a badge, an eagle, the emblem of right. It seems just a few short months have passed since he joined with the youngster next door. How proud he was then of his tenderfoot pen as he told her the message it bore. But the years have gone as he struggled along to learn what the scout law is about. He practiced them daily, the oath and the law, until now he's an Eagle Scout. You may smile at your worldly old wisdom and say, why, it's only a pin. But I tell you, no honors he gains a man will mean quite as much to him. The red, white, and blue of the ribbon you see are the symbols of honor and truth. He has learned how to value these fine attributes in the glorious days of youth. And the outwinging wings of the eagle that rest on the breast of this night of today are the things that will lift him above petty deeds and guide him along the right way. Yes, it is only a pin, just an Eagle Scout badge, but the heart that's beneath it beats true and will throb to the last for the things which are good, a lesson for you and me.
It's truly a privilege to be here this evening on this very happy occasion to honor Dan and Paul and their families. The Eagle Oath is actually an Eagle Scout challenge, and each of their Eagle packets contains this copy. God lives honorably, not only because honor is important to him, but because of the vital significance of the example he sets for other scouts. Living honorably reflects credit on his home, his church, his troop, and his community. May the white of the Eagle badge remind you to always live with honor. The second obligation of an Eagle Scout is loyalty. A Scout is true to his family, Scout leaders, friends, school, and nation. His loyalty to his troop and brother Scouts makes him pitch in and carry his share of the load. All of these help to build the loyalty, which means devotion to community, to country, to one's own ideals, and to God. Let the blue of the Eagle badge always inspire your loyalty. The third obligation of an Eagle Scout is to be courageous. Courage has always been a quality by which men measure themselves and others. To a Scout, bravery means not only the courage to face physical danger, but the determination to stand up for the right. Trusting in God, with faith in his fellow man, he looks forward to each day, seeking his share of the world's work to do. The fourth obligation of an Eagle Scout is to be cheerful. To remind the Eagle Scout to always wear a smile, the red, white, and blue ribbon is attached to the scroll of the Second Class Scout Award, which has its ends turned up in a circle. The final responsibility of an Eagle Scout is service. The Eagle Scout extends a helping hand to those who still toil up scouting's trail, just as others help him in his climb into the Eagle. The performance of the daily good turn takes on a new meaning when he enters a more adult life of continuing service to others. The Eagle stands as protector of the weak and helpless. He aids and comforts the unfortunate and the oppressed. He upholds the rights of others while defending his own. He will always be prepared to put forth his best. You deserve much credit for having achieved Scouting's highest award, but wear your award with humility, ever mindful that the Eagle Scout is looked up to as an example. May the Scout Oath and the Scout Law be your guide for tomorrow and onward. It's with great pleasure at this time that I present the awards that accompany the rank of Eagle to Daniel R. Allen and his parents. There are actually 5 emblems that represent the Eagle Award. First of those is that about which you just heard me read, red, white, and blue, with the be prepared smile, and then the Eagle badge itself. This pin on me. Next is an emblem in the form of a tie tag. We have one on the lapel already, so this is the second of these awards. And then thirdly, we have another Eagle emblem on pendant for and also for Dan is the badge for his uniform. There are several certificates and letters of commendation here, as well as a copy of the poem that the page just read and the Eagle Scout Challenge. Sister Allen must have special word here. Not only her own sons, but all the young men in the scouting program who was born back in this state have been greatly influenced and assisted by Sister Shirley and Allen. And I have never seen in my life a greater example of devotion to the scouting program. We have many others in this ward who give countless hours of service to the scouting program. Inspiration that Shirley brought is unique and outstanding. Brother Paul Marcus. At this time, I would like to also make a special acknowledgement to Bishop John Lott, who's seated over here for the offering and closing prayer. I commend and take tribute and honor to him this evening in connection with these two fine young men for the great influence that he has been in their trek toward this equal accomplishment this time. I feel honored to be in this position, but give the lion's share of the credit for writing not worked with these young men in the scouting program very much before, and he has great deal with them and deserves much credit. In our ward, we have this beautiful plaque on which is engraved the names of each of our Eagle Scouts dating back to 1976. And we have now added the name of Paul M. Inman and Daniel A. Allen. We're honored and pleased to have them there. And I am proud to be able to have our young men. My own son is here tonight, and I look forward eagerly to the night in the future when we'll be blessed and privileged to honor him as he achieves his Eagle. And I appreciate the example that these two young men and the others whose names appear on this plaque are and will continue to be to the other young men in our ward and in our scouting organization here. I want to share my testimony. This program as the finest organization on earth to train and raise up stalwart and righteous young men to lead not only the church but the nation in righteousness and accomplish the work of our Father in heaven on this earth. And I bear that testimony in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop Moyes. Among the commendations that are to be received tonight by Paul and Dan is a special certificate that we received yesterday from the office of Governor Rose Moffett. Paul and Dan, if you would step up here, please. These certificates, which are from the office of the governor and signed by the governor, read as follows. This one's addressed to Daniel A. Allen, Eagle Scout, Boy Scouts of America. On behalf of the citizens of Arizona, I want to congratulate you on attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. This is the highest rank a scout can achieve, and you are to be commended on your time, effort, and devotion to not only scouting, but to serving others. Boy Scouts of America touches the lives of our youth at a time when it is needed most, and by your response and continuation in the program, you can become a better citizen of our great state. As a future leader in your community, the state, and the nation, I am sure the experience and knowledge gained in your many years spent in scouting will long be remembered as you continue to build good character and good citizenship. I wholeheartedly support the Boy Scouts of America and am very proud to add my best wishes to your outstanding accomplishment. Wishing you the best in all your future endeavors. Sincerely, Rose Moffett, Governor. We have one of these certificates for Dan and one also for Paul. We have 4 special presentations for these young men this evening. Bishop John Ogden will first present their Eagle Feathers. Following that, there will be a special presentation to Paul from Greg Farron, his former scoutmaster. Bruce Garden will then make a special presentation to Danny, and then Paul's parents have a special presentation for me.
Our Eagle rack is off to my left. As many of you have seen, it contains eagle feathers and names of each of the Eagle Scouts that we have had in our ward since its inception. It's something that we have a great deal of pride for. And if Paul and Danny will come forward, I'll present you with your Eagle Feathers. And as you place these Eagle Feathers on the Eagle rack, I want you to remember that each court of honor, at our Scout Court of Honor, we bring out the Eagle rack, and the young men go forward and look at these Eagle Feathers and the names, and just as we would look to the sky when we see eagles soar, these young men will look to you for their example and inspiration and guidance. And so I give you these Eagle Feathers to place on the Eagle rack.
I've had the privilege of working with Paul and Murray and
just kind of gave him that funny little grin. I just had to smile back. Paul was special. And it was kind of hard when we split the ward and Paul left. Because we have a tradition in our troop of giving to those boys who earn their Eagle rank an award. And I felt that Paul was one of those that I had helped and worked towards earning his Eagle. And in fact, every time I saw him, I said, "Paul, how you doing?" And all he had was just a little bit left to do. And he kept saying, "Oh, I still got this little bit left to do," and he would never do it. And eventually, I guess, let me see your right arm. Hold it up. Well, I guess there isn't any permanent damage from their twisting it. But finally earned that award. And it was really neat. The night after the night when he had his Eagle Board and he passed, he called me up. And you talk to Paul, he's kind of deadpan a lot, but he called me up and he said that he had just been through his Eagle Board and he passed. And you could tell he was very deadpan about it, but you could tell he was excited. And I was really glad to hear that Paul had finally earned his Eagle badge. And I have tonight here the special award, and I felt that even though Paul had moved out of the ward, so to speak, and would not earn this from our troop, that it's something that I would like to have him have as a memento of our troop and our association with him. Because I'll always remember Paul for the finger carving that he did. And he'll always remember it too, because his fingers are not ever the same. But I'd like Paul, would you come up? This is a Swiss Army knife, and it has Paul's name engraved on it. And we give these to every boy. Now, when we started out, we didn't put their names on, but I found a place that would put their name on it. And so we'd like to present this to Paul, and we hope that you can always remember us in the truth, and remember the responsibilities you have as an Eagle to be a good example to everybody that you come in contact with. Congratulations.
On behalf of the Scout Committees of Troop 300, Team 6300, and Post 9300, those are the scouting units that are sponsored by our board, it is with pleasure that I announce that we have adopted the tradition that Brother Farron has indicated their troop has had. With their permission and blessing, we now, starting tonight, have the same tradition of awarding each Eagle Scout with a very nice Swiss Army knife with the young man's name engraved on it. So it is with pleasure that I present to Danny Allen his Swiss Army knife.
We are committed to scouting in our families. And when Murray, our oldest, got his Eagle, we started a tradition. And the tradition is that whenever one of the members of our family obtains the rank of Eagle, we give him what we call an Eagle quilt. And it is hand quilted, it's all hand painted, and every one of the members of our family, without exception, helped in making this quilt. That'll keep him warm on some of those cold nights, won't it? And I can see him now wrapped around in it with all the love and affection that our family gives to Paul, in presenting him with this Eagle quilt. Around the outside are all of the merit badges which he earned by name and by date. And in the inside are all the ranks this time we present Paul with his eagle quilt.
We couldn't conclude this evening without hearing from our two Eagle Scouts. We'll first hear a response by Danny Allen, who will be followed by Paul Inman. After they have spoken, Scott Meekham will lead the Scouts of our troop in retrieving the colors. We will then have a benediction by Bishop John Ogden, and afterward we would ask that you in the audience remain seated while the Allens and the Inmans stand. They will then be escorted out of the chapel and we'll all gather for refreshments in the multipurpose area.
I guess first off, I'd like to thank everybody who came here to see me receive this award. Right now, if Brother Ogden, Brother Campbell, and Bishop Moyes would come. These three men have helped me a lot through scouting and through growing up, and they've been my teachers in church and my bishops and and I just got these awards, or these, they're just paperweights and they have the eagle emblem on them. And I just want to present each one of them with one of these, and in thanks for all their help. Brother Gardner, come forward, please. This is kind of a special award. He was my home teacher, or he still is my home teacher, and I guess you could say he deserves the biggest pest award because he constantly nags me to get my eagle, and a lot of you probably think he's blind, but every time in church he'd always seem to find me. And I try and walk by and I try and sneak by him, but I never could get by him. He'd always ask me how I was doing and always encouraging me to get going and to finish my project. And I got him this paperweight with an eagle inside of it for his helping me obtain my eagle. Most of all, I could have never done it without my mother. She really helped me a lot, and a lot of times when I thought maybe I was too busy or too old or whatever the problem was, she always was there to encourage me, and she helped a whole lot. And I got her this plaque. It said, "Mom, thank you for all your help, time, and patience." And I want her to come up and I'd like to thank her for all the help she's given me, and not only in scouting, but in being a parent and raising me the way that she wants me to be, and I thank her for that. That's it.
I'm not too good at speeches, so I'll make it quick. I want to especially thank my mom for this day that's coming fast to this, and I gotta run, but no, I got this little eagle to remind her of me. And thank my dad for pushing it, and brother and everybody else. And thanks for coming. Thank you.
We want to kiss too.
They eat with practical jokes.
Color guard, reassemble. Retreat, colors. Color guard, retire colors. Will everyone please stand and salute the flag? Two.
Thank you.
Stop a minute, I can't stoop. Wait a minute, I can't get it all in. There, I got it, I think. Don't move it too fast there, Jason, then you get it.
Don't make everybody dizzy.
I forgot my,
Jason. Never mind. Grandma's gonna have to take a seasick pill before she takes that.
I'll get it on work.
She says she gets
Enough, Jason. People want in front of
Who brought this, Justin?